I now made it to the other side of the cemetery. This is the area where there was another tomb where there's a bunch of voodoo. And, this is pretty much that area, but still no sign. What the hell was that?
Something terrifying happened in this Thailand cemetery overnight, and no one has an explanation. Every single grave, empty. Every casket, gone. Bodies vanished without a trace. Row after row stretches into the darkness. Nothing left but open earth and a silence that feels wrong. There are no tire marks from heavy equipment, no disturbed soil suggesting digging, not even a single footprint. It's as if the dead simply stood up and walked away. The person filming can barely speak through their shaking voice. You can hear the fear, real fear. So, what happened here? A sign from something above? A mass grave robbery or something far, far darker, like the dead refusing to stay buried? Whatever the truth is, this footage should not exist. Something is stalking Sunny and CJ during this Randonautica horror exploration, filmed back in May of 2021. And whatever it is, it's not hiding by accident. Sunny Deeds writes, "On this adventure, CJ and I traveled back to the haunted Pokemon forest for another Randonautica journey. We never expected this to happen." And he's right, because what unfolds in the darkness feels straight out of a nightmare. They challenge the app, telling Randonautica to bring it on. And it does. Their next point sends them near an old cemetery, the kind of place you're not supposed to wander around after dark. As Sunny and CJ step out of their vehicle, an eagle-eyed viewer later spots something terrifying. Two figures watching them. One hides behind a warped branch hanging over a ditch, completely still. The other appears to be filming them back with their own camera, silently, like they've been waiting. And then the sounds start. If you listen closely, you can hear footsteps.
What? What? Somebody back there. What? What'd you hear?
It was like, dude, turn your... Can you light? It sounds like somebody walking. It sounds like somebody walking over there. There's...
Is that somebody? What? You got me
It sounds like they're going over that way.
What the f was that? What was that? What?
Slow, deliberate, circling them from somewhere in the trees. Moments later, something slams in the distance. It's loud, sharp, violent. That something turns out to be CJ's car. When the pair rush back, they find the back window obliterated. Glass everywhere. No animal could have done this. No accident. And sitting in the middle of the wreckage is a brick, as if someone wanted to send a message. They shout into the darkness.
It's a... Who the f is out here?
Brand new car.
jack-wagon mother. Listen. It's still cracking or something. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
Oh my God, man, I'm gonna throw the up right now. Dude, I'm going to throw up. That's a brand new car I have. Oh my.
Demanding to know who's out there. The forest doesn't answer, but a single light flickers deep between the trees, like someone holding up a phone, watching. So now we have the how, but the real question is the who. Something was definitely out there with Sonny and CJ that night. And whatever its intentions were, only Randonautica knows. Night has fallen, and Franco TV is once again stepping into one of Florida's most haunted cemeteries, a place that seems to fight him every time he enters. Before he can even get through the front gate, his flashlight suddenly dies. The exact same thing that happened on his previous visit. At this point, it's hard to call that a coincidence. The deeper Franco goes, the worse it gets. Strange noises echo from different directions. Footsteps, whispers, shifting shadows that don't belong to him. He sets up a second night vision camera in hopes of finally catching something definitive. And that's when it happens.
You can see so much more now with the night vision. It's ridiculous. Hold on. Just heard a noise. I literally just heard a noise down here. What the f? Holy crap. There's somebody legit inside the room.
Across the cemetery, inside a pitch-black room, he captures something that chills him to the bone. Sitting perfectly still is what appears to be a ghostly woman, her back facing him, motionless in a chair. She doesn't react to the flashlight. She doesn't move. She doesn't even flinch. It's like she isn't really there. Or she's been sitting there for a very, very long time. But when Franco runs to the room, she's gone. Nothing disturbed. Nothing moved. The chair sits exactly as before, like she simply blinked out of existence. Franco can feel he's not alone. And the cemetery proves him right. A creepy, silent game of hide-and-seek begins. Shadows appear where they shouldn't. Sounds follow him from one row of graves to the next. And then, the final encounter. While circling the cemetery's perimeter, Franco sees her again. This time, she actually turns toward him. Twice, before looking back down at a grave marker. Possibly her own. As her head shifts, the night vision camera barely catches the outline of her face, and it's horrifying. Hollow eye sockets, a sunken expression, like someone who has been dead for decades. But here's where things get strange. Franco finally captures what could be the clearest evidence of a real ghost. And instead of moving closer, instead of confirming it once and for all, he slowly backs away. He chooses distance over proof. Maybe he was too terrified to get closer. Or maybe, just maybe, someone was pretending to be a ghost. So what do you think? Did Franco encounter a real apparition? Or was someone else hiding in the cemetery that night? Donnie and Tony have teamed up to create one of the freakiest ghost hunting channels out there, Danton Paranormal. And tonight, they're investigating a cemetery known only by its chilling nickname, the Labyrinth. No one knows its exact location. No one wants to. What they capture inside this haunted maze is beyond explanation. And once you see it for yourself, you'll understand why they're still shaken to this day. Keep your eyes on the far doorway, because something is standing there. At the top of the stairs, a tall shadow figure suddenly blocks the entryway. It's massive, unmoving, and completely silent. But the second Donnie and Tony start getting too close, it just vanishes. No sound, no movement, no retreating footsteps. It simply ceases to exist. When Danton Paranormal reviewed the footage later, that's when they finally realized what they'd captured. And the horror sinks in. They never saw the figure in person. They never reacted. It was right there, watching them, and they had no idea. The shadow has no natural source, no light, no object, no human silhouette. It almost looks like something standing between our world and whatever lies beyond it. So what do you think? Did Donnie and Tony record a real ghost in the labyrinth? And here's the bigger question. Would you be brave enough to walk up those stairs and face it? Because honestly, I don't think I could ever return for a follow-up investigation. But for their sake, and ours, I hope they do. A late-night motorcycle vlog turns terrifying when a man in India decides to explore a long, isolated road rumored to be haunted by the dead. The moment he gets near the cemetery gates, his dash cam refuses to focus. The screen glitches, blurs, and pulses like something is interfering with it. The paranormal energy here is so strong, even the camera wants out. He mutters that he shouldn't have come down this road. And after what happens next, he's absolutely right. As his headlights sweep across the darkness, they catch something awful. A lone figure standing by the roadside, wearing what looks like a dress. There's no reason for anyone to be on foot out here. Not at this hour, not this far from town, and definitely not minutes away from a haunted cemetery. The figure isn't a tree. It isn't a trick of the light. It seems to move. First stepping toward the motorcycle, then drifting back into the shadows as if deciding whether to approach. Could it be a pedestrian? Technically, yes. But why would anyone be wandering this dead, silent, haunted stretch of road, alone, in total darkness, with no flashlight, no phone light, nothing to guide them? That's the part that chills me the most. Because either someone was out here waiting, or something was.
Which is tomb area.
There are spirits
And before I leave
everywhere in
Peru,
this sea of lost souls.
I wanted to check that area
And
out.
YouTuber Franco TV
But
seems
remember,
to have walked
the
straight
witch's
into the
tomb
middle
is
of them.
buried where...
Known for exploring haunted cemeteries around the world, Franco captures something here that is far beyond the usual shadows and whispers. This time, he records a full-bodied apparition, one of the clearest I've ever seen.
where there was another tomb where there's a bunch of voodoo. And, this is pretty much that area, but still no sign. What the hell was that?
Take a closer look. The figure is solid, detailed, unmistakably human, yet not alive. It stands there as if caught between worlds, watching Franco without making a sound. And believe it or not, that's not even the creepiest thing he encounters. Because a little later, Franco spots something else lurking between the tombstones. A mysterious hooded figure. It doesn't behave like a visitor, And it doesn't belong here this late at night. It just stands there, unmoving, staring into the darkness like it's waiting for something to wake up. So here's the question. Are these two sightings connected? My theory? That hooded figure may not be a ghost at all. It looks more like a cult member. Someone performing a ritual, drawing spirits out from their graves. And the apparition Franco filmed could be the result. Whatever is happening here, this video has viewers completely on edge. And after seeing it myself, I don't blame them. Al Capone has always had an obsession with exploring the darkest, most haunted places
Make sure
he
you
can
guys
find.
hit that like button.
But one of the creepiest
just feels like all
investigations
eyes
he's
are on
ever
me.
filmed happened when he wandered into a local cemetery at 3 a.m. The dead hour when the living are outnumbered.
Now, I know I say it in all my videos, but keep your ears and eyes open, because this is one of Florida's most haunted cemeteries. And by the way, it's very late at night. I was watching some playoff basketball and it took me a while to get out. But this is incredible, it's massive. What was that? Hello? Give you guys another wipe. Sorry, it's real humid here in Florida, so make sure the lens isn't fogging up. What was that? What the hell was that? Hello? I feel so uncomfortable right now. Somebody around here? There's an open door right there. Hello? What was that? What was that? Hello?
He isn't expecting much. Until something happens that convinces his subscribers this footage is no joke. The lights don't shut off by themselves. That's not the scary part. It's what he accidentally captures beyond the stairs. A ghostly figure appears for a split second. Pale, still, and watching. Al Capone turns his head toward the exact spot it stood, almost like he felt something staring back at him. And honestly, that's what makes this clip so disturbing. No random person would be wandering a cemetery at 3 a.m., not without a flashlight, not without a reason. Some viewers argued it could be a maintenance worker, which might explain why a nearby closet door was open earlier. But that theory falls apart fast, because it doesn't explain the strange noise echoing from inside the room. It doesn't explain why his light flickers the moment he hears it. And it definitely doesn't explain the silent figure standing there 1 second and gone the next. If this wasn't paranormal, then what was it? A YouTube duo known as Alone and Afraid are deep inside a haunted cemetery in Port Arthur, Texas. And during this investigation, they capture something they were never supposed to see. While scanning the cemetery perimeter, their camera briefly catches a moving shadow, something that should blend into the darkness, yet somehow stands out. Watch closely. At 26 minutes and 58 seconds, a shadowy figure is standing directly in front of a headstone, and then it silently steps aside, like it doesn't want to be spotted. Right after that, their camera loses focus, but only in the exact spot where the shadow vanished. It's as if something is still standing there, distorting the lens. Now stranded in the middle of the cemetery with just a single flashlight, the duo suddenly begins hearing noises coming from every direction. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, getting closer. The night is completely still. No wind, no animals, no people. Just the crunch of something walking toward them through the darkness. They sweep their flashlight through the graveyard, but all they get is total blur. Like the camera refuses to reveal what's standing nearby. It's almost as if an invisible presence is right in front of them, watching, waiting, and making sure it stays unseen. Published in July of 2020, the Urban Ghost Exploration team decided to take the Randonautica app on a wild adventure. One meant to send them somewhere completely random. But the app didn't send them into the unknown. It sent them somewhere they already feared. Their random destination turned out to be a haunted cemetery they'd explored 2 years earlier. The same place they'd fled from after thinking a bear was stalking them in the woods. Joe explains that the bike trail winds deep into dense forest before opening into an old, fenced graveyard. Isolated, silent, and notoriously haunted. And this time, the activity begins almost immediately. As they stand over a grave, whispering drifts through the trees. Soft, quiet, and definitely not human. Then Patty realizes all her batteries, every single one that was fully charged, have drained to zero, completely empty. That's when they fire up the spirit box, and the first word it says is Joe. Something knows exactly who they are. They ask whether there's something they're supposed to find in the cemetery. The spirit's response? Near you. Almost like a warning. Joe feels watched from all directions. A man's voice keeps echoing around them, moving from one side of the cemetery to the other. But no matter where they shine their lights, no one is there. Meanwhile, Rob is taking photos, and only some of them show strange, drifting mists that appear out of nowhere and vanish between shots. But the most disturbing discovery is the one none of them expected. They find a jewelry box lying on the ground, old, carved, and totally out of place. At some point, they misplace it, unable to remember where they set it down. When they ask the spirits what happened to the box, the spirit box replies with a single name: Curtis. Later, as they continue down the path, they stumble upon something chilling. The carved jewelry box, somehow placed ahead of them, waiting. Inside the wood, carved by hand, is the name: Curtis. So who is Curtis? Why did the spirit lead them back to this cemetery? And what exactly is inside that box? Those questions are enough to keep anyone up all night. A YouTube channel called Good Cemeteries Gone Bad captured something incredibly strange in broad daylight while investigating the Anclote Cemetery in Florida, a place already known for bizarre activity. They were trying to figure out whether this eerie, floating shape was just a spider web or something far more unsettling. And honestly, the answer seems obvious. Yes, spiderwebs can look different depending on the spider. We all know that. But nothing about this looks like any spiderweb I've ever seen. Not the shape, not the movement, not the way it hangs there like it's suspended in midair. But the most disturbing part? Watch what happens when sunlight hits it. It doesn't flutter away. It doesn't cling to anything. It just vanishes. Instantly. Like it was never there at all. That's not how spiderwebs behave. So, if you live in Florida, let us know. Does this look like any web you've seen in your area? Because from where I'm sitting, this feels a whole lot less like insects, and a whole lot more like the paranormal at work. A YouTuber named Visually Creeped TV is walking through a cemetery in Wisconsin when he hears something that stops him in his tracks.
Down here.
What the Hello? Hello?
Holy shit, someone just fucking whistled, dude. I just heard a whistle over here. Like right behind me.
Hello?
A long, eerie whistling sound coming from inside a crypt that's over 100 years old and completely locked. Listen closely and try to figure out which direction the sound is coming from.
Down here.
What the Hello? Hello?
Holy shit, someone just fucking whistled, dude. I just heard a whistle over here. Like right behind me.
Hello?
What makes this clip even stranger is his first reaction. The moment he hears the whistle, he instinctively turns away from the crypt instead of toward it, which is odd. If something was actually whistling inside that sealed structure, wouldn't he face it immediately? But the weirdness doesn't stop there. He circles the crypt, checking every side for signs of someone hiding. But nobody is around. No footsteps, no shadows, no one running away. Then suddenly, the whistle comes again. This time, from the exact spot he was standing just moments earlier. There's no easy way to fake something like this. It doesn't sound like speakers. It doesn't echo like a phone. The tone is organic and disturbingly close. And yet the crypt is chained shut, sealed tight, and has been for decades. So if the whistle isn't coming from outside, is it coming from within? What hidden secrets does this witch's cemetery hold? Dennis from the YouTube channel Dark Ghost Paranormal is about to find out the hard way. His investigation begins with a disturbing discovery. A strange shelter deep in the woods, guarded by cow skulls. Whatever this place is, it wasn't meant to be found. Suddenly, Dennis hears something moving nearby. Whispers. Voices, like multiple people speaking just out of sight. As he approaches the structure, he spots what looks like a face staring back at him from inside.
С этой штуки, вот с этой постройки.
At first glance, it could be pareidolia, but in a place like this, you can never be sure. Things get darker fast when his paranormal device picks up a chilling sound. A distorted, unnatural voice that doesn't belong to any living person. Then Dennis stumbles upon something deeply unsettling. A collection of dead butterflies, arranged almost ritualistically. Their presence feels wrong, like they're part of a ceremony that ended badly. When he holds the device near them, it emits another warped, eerie signal.
Здесь кто-нибудь есть из мира духов?
As if whatever energy is tied to this place is strongest where the bodies are. And then, the whistling begins. At first faint, then louder, sharper, more aggressive. Not the kind of sound you hear from winds or animals. The kind of sound you hear when something wants you gone. By the time the final terrifying noise echoes through the cemetery, it's clear Dennis has overstayed his welcome. The butterflies alone would have sent most people running. But that last sound, that was a warning. A serious one. Dennis needs to get out of there, before whatever's hiding in this witch's cemetery decides it doesn't want him to leave at all. In 2009, a seasoned paranormal research group was sent to investigate a wave of ghost sightings in a cemetery near Tampa Bay. For weeks, they sifted through hours of lifeless, uneventful footage, until they stumbled onto something that made their blood run cold. On one of the earlier recordings, a strange glowing light drifts behind a grave marker. Behind the fence line, deep in the cemetery's restricted area. Whatever this thing is, it isn't a bug, it isn't dust, and it isn't anything that should be moving back there. Some say it looks like a ghostly orb. Others think it resembles a small figure slipping through the gravestones, almost as if it's choosing to stay hidden. The team keeps their cameras rolling for 3 more weeks, not expecting much. But then, the second incident happens. This time, the footage captures something much darker. A tall, shadowy figure glides across the edge of the screen, its shape barely visible but unmistakably human-like. And seconds later, an eerie mist spills across the entire area. A thick, unnatural fog that seems to move with purpose. Not drifting, but approaching. The timing is suspicious. A car passes by at the exact moment the shadow appears, meaning the silhouette could be caused by headlights. At least that's the explanation the investigators desperately hope for. Because if it's not a trick of the light, then whatever walked through that cemetery wasn't human, and wasn't alone. Two friends are exploring the haunted Matlock Cemetery in Iowa, a place rumored to be crawling with restless spirits, when they suddenly freeze.
This is scary.
Hey, did you see that?
Oh my god! What?
Did you see that?
What the fuck was that, dude? Oh my god! Oh my god!
Well, let's keep going.
Dude, no. For real? You really want?
Something, or someone, appears to be watching them from a distance. Just barely visible behind a tree. A pale white face peeking out from the darkness. At first, they try to brush it off. Maybe it's just a trick of the light. Maybe it's nothing. But the feeling of being watched becomes impossible to ignore. So they walk closer. And that's when they realize the terrifying truth.
Exactly what I want. It's fuck creepy as fuck, dude.
Oh my
Look
god!
behind this one, right?
Yeah. Oh my god! What the fuck was that?
Heard something.
What the fuck was that? Oh my god! Oh my god! What the fuck was that? Oh! 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 Oh my god!
It wasn't them getting a closer look at whatever was behind the tree. It was the figure getting a closer look at them. Here it is again. A man standing eerily still, wearing loose, baggy clothes and what looks like a white mask. Or possibly a face with no features at all. The footage is too blurry to confirm, but the shape is unmistakably human. Whoever this person is, they don't move, they don't speak, and they don't respond. They just watch from behind the tree, as if waiting. I don't know if this was a maintenance worker, a prankster, or a genuine stalker hiding in the cemetery that night. But running was the right choice. And for their own safety, I hope they never set foot in Matlock Cemetery again. A ghost hunting team known as the Singapore Paranormal Investigators ventures into the abandoned Bucket Brown Cemetery, built in 1922. It's one of the largest burial grounds in the entire country, and if any place in Singapore is going to be haunted, it's this one. To draw out whatever might be lurking, they light candles and begin monitoring the area. Before long, their equipment reacts with a sudden surge of energy. They snap a photo into the darkness ahead and swear they've captured a glowing orb floating between the graves. But after slowing the footage down, it becomes clear that the orb is actually a street sign reflecting their camera flash. I don't think they were trying to fake anything. They were nervous, on edge, and probably convinced they just captured real paranormal activity. Their ghost meter spins again as another burst of energy hits, and this time a solid black shape appears near the device. It could be a spirit, but more likely an insect flying across the lens. Even so, the timing is eerie. Later that night, they claim something darts over their candles. I watched the footage closely and didn't see anything, but maybe you'll pick up on something I missed. Moments later, their camera suddenly shuts down without warning. Whether it was equipment failure or something supernatural interfering is still up for debate.